Joining us today is an amazing woman with a vision to help young adults like you. She believes that every one of you is special, capable, and extremely talented. Now, just a few words about today's guest speaker. Ms. Philomena Joseph is the CEO at Abacus Educational India. She is a competent strategist with the determination of working towards bettering the educational platform in the country through her valuable ideas and passion. She derives her excellent managerial skills from years of experience in governing successful social and humanitarian endeavors through various nonprofit organizations. Having completed her MA in journalism and mass communication, she began her professional career as a correspondent, reporter, and editor for NDTV India. She has also served as the admissions manager and brand strategist at St. Xavier's College, Bangalore. Her sound academic foundation and professional involvements have equipped her with the efficiency and expertise in her current role as the Chief Executive Officer at Abacus. Today, she will be sharing top pitching points on how to present yourself through your CV and make it stand out from the rest, as well as how to face job interviews. So let's welcome Ms. Philomena Joseph to this platform. Ma'am, it is so good to have you here to speak to us today, and we look forward to an exciting evening ahead. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay. Basically, the session agenda, which we will be covering today, will be more of definition about the CV and the definition about the resume. Because a lot of time I have came across that people are confused what exactly is CV and what exactly is resume. So I always appreciate if a person can know about it before they draft their curriculum. All right. So when it comes to CV, basically CV stands for curriculum vitae, which means it is like something where a person need to focus on comprehensive detailed, where the interviewer is not only, the recruiter is not only looking about the summary. Okay, they are looking about entire information about a person, you know, what they have done, what are their achievements, what are the education, what is the professional accomplishment. So it is like a proper detailed comprehensive. So when it comes to CV, when we define CV, it should be more of a brief introduction about oneself, which, you know, when we usually verbally, when we talk, that is the same thing. When we write, the same thing. So but it should be not too much also, but it should be limited with what we are trying to convey to the other person. So that is meant by CV. So CV is basically a comprehensive detailed. So when you're writing about CV, when you're talking about yourself, you need to put it in a chronological order, where you're starting with your educational experience, your academics, and then comes to your experience in your work experience as well. So that comes in a proper order. Whereas resume is basically not in a detailed comprehensive way, but it is a summarize. It's a summarize of what you're trying to tell, what you're trying to convey to the other person. So it is more of your concise, detailed of your career history, your skills, everything you're trying to put bulletin points, in a shortened points, rather than making it more detailed. So that is what is the difference between CV and resume. So when we usually people say that, can I share my resume or can I share my CV? So they will give you like 3-4 pages, or sometimes I come across with 10 pages of information, right? So nobody's interested to know so much in detail about a person because of the time limit that we have. Moreover, we try to tell them to more put across their information in a CV format. CV means you will be having more of bulletin points, where you will be putting point to point what you're trying to tell. For example, I want to work in a media industry. So media industry, if I'm looking for a media industry where I, my career opportunity. So I want to focus on that, what I've done previously. If I have any experience, I need to put it in a bulletin point, on a point wise. I should not make it a history, and nobody's interested where you have studied in class 10th, 12th. Nobody's interested. Only they are interested to know which college, higher education is more important rather than going to, some people will mention their school, their addresses, their principal name. So a lot of things we come across. So this is what they try to say, that CV should be comprehensive, detailed. Detailed doesn't mean to put across a history, but point by point what you have accomplished, what are your skills basically. And whereas resume, if you say resume nowadays, very rarely we hear about resume, more of in the industry. But resume is a short, very summarized description about oneself, whatever they have achieved, their skills program, or that should be in a proper, in a concise way. So that is the difference between CV and resume. So I usually suggest people not to say resume. It's better to say CV rather than going ahead with that. So this is how basically CV looks like. CV basically look like, whereas curriculum CVs like this, where you have all your detailed information, your contact, your skill, your software, hobbies, everything's come in one page, mostly in 1 or 2 page maximum, not more than that should be there. Whereas resume is more of in 1 page, where people try to, put all the information in one hand, and it looked like that, and with the photograph. So photograph has become compulsory. Before, I think, people were not putting their photograph, but now the industry has made it like something where it is important to, share your photo, where if you are sharing it in a digital format or in a traditional way. Okay, so next agenda, the session we come, the topic we will be discussing is difference between the CV and resume, that I have already, I think, shared a lot. But the major difference is the length of CV, and the length and the content basically. And whereas the CV is more of comprehensive in a detailed format, where you start with your academic and then you lead to your professional and achievements. Whereas resume is more of concise, where you start with a short summary about your professional, more of, rather than going to your academics, you start with your professional experience and your skills, rather than looking forward to your detailed information from that. All right, so this is the format that we usually use now. CV format is where your photo, your basic information about yourself, and then your professional history starts. Then educational skill and awards comes. Whereas resume is more of your professional, little bit about your education, your skills and all, but it should be mentioned in a bulletin point. So moreover, both CV and resume is better to be mentioned in a bulletin point rather than a statement format. All right, so how well we can write a CV. It is, how we can prepare or how we can write a well-off CV, that is more important. So there is a basic format that we follow. There is a standard format that we follow for any job that we're looking forward. So the format says about the small contact information. So in the initial, when we are mentioning where our photograph will be there, just below that, there will be a full name, email address, number, home address, and LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, I don't know how many of you might be aware, definitely. It's like LinkedIn profile, or your LinkedIn ID has become very, very important to mention in the CV. Okay, so that people can connect to you easily and they can know about your profile, especially when it comes to a professional domain. So CV, when you're mentioning, when you're drafting a CV, no matter you have an experience or not, or you're a fresher, still it's better to have a LinkedIn. So you should have a LinkedIn profile where you can share your LinkedIn ID just below your contact information when you're drafting a CV. So this will be there. So contact information is going to be the first thing that you will be at. Nowadays, we also have a lot of different templates that we are using. So different templates you will be getting, entire template will be there. You just need to put the information. But moreover, the template will be for the CV, rather than resume. So resume, nobody is more looking forward for. So, and when they say, usually when they say they will be drafting a CV, but I have heard people saying that, ma'am, can I share my resume with you? So, but actually when we see that, it is a CV. It is a comprehensive details about the person. But moreover, when they actually communicate to us, they will be saying resume. So this is what my first foremost information has been to inform people that, whatever we are saying and what we are, we have drafted is completely different. So this is what I really want to clarify that first. Yeah. So moving ahead. So after contact information, then we have a personal statement that we mentioned. Now, personal statement also, first, like before, like few years back, people used to like lot of things about themselves, like a biodata, where they'll be mentioning about their family, their their siblings or everything. So it becomes like a huge, like a big statement, like around 10-15 lines, which is not required. So whenever it comes to personal statement, it's always important to mention like just less than 50 words, not even above 50, like minimum 50 or less than 50. So it should be like about you. What not about, when I say about you, doesn't mean that you need to write about entire about your personality. You just need to say what are you looking for, what is your career goal, so that the person, that should be eye catchy, so that the person, when they are going through the CV, they should be like, okay, this is what, in within one sentence, it's gone, we have grabbed the information entirely. So that is very, very important to know that personal statement should not be a summary, or it should not be too much, more than 50 words. It should be limited to less than 50 words, that I always suggest. So that will provide about your entire, information, where you will be talking about your whatever your achievements are, and then you accordingly you start over. So then there will be about your, first you need to talk about your educational background. So what your educational will include your college. So in case some people, usually they'll be mentioning that 10th and 12th passed out from so and so school, or so it's better nowadays with the corporate industry, like moreover they'll be saying that instead of mentioning 10th and 12th, it's better to start with the graduation, from where you graduated. So it's more of BA, from where you have done. So it should be like BA in sociology from Jesus and Mary College, and the year, you need to mention the year. So year can be mentioned so that people can have an idea when you passed out. So, and a lot of people, I don't know, still they will also mention marks. They will be mentioning certain percentage, which is not required at all. You just need to mention the degree, from which college, which university, and which year. That's it. Even 10th and 12th is not required. But in case some people still mention it, so it's fine. Otherwise, it's not compulsory. Then comes, after that, once you mention your academics, your educational background, then you will be mentioning about your internship. Okay, because before work experience, people usually go for internship. So it should be like, in case you have done some internship, so you can mention internship with so and so years. Because why we mention internship before mentioning the work experience? Because there is a year gap. So when you are mentioning the year, it should not contradict, like some people will be starting their job in 2017, and then they are mentioning 2017 internship also. So people will be like, okay, if you're doing internship also and job also in 1 year, then how it is, how you're managing? So there is like a lot of question will come, and then the person who is sitting for the interview round, they will be like lot of question will be there, and they get confused. And the main target of the recruiter is to give them complex, that kind of, they want to see how the person will answer these questions. So it's much better that we should not complex ourselves before we are riding through that session. It's better you prepare yourself. So internship, if you have done internship, you mention the company, you mention your designation and your years. That's it. Internship heading, and then so and so. So it's go like that. Then after that, it comes about your work experience. So work experience will again, your company, your designation, and your year. That is what they require. And then once you finish with your work experience, then you come with your skills. So your skills is important. You need to mention skills. Now skills will be not about your, a lot of people will be mentioning that I love badminton and I love, these are my hobbies and all, which is not under skills. That is, it's a separate thing. That is an interest, or you can say hobbies. When it comes to skills, you need to mention your professional skills. They are not bothered about, what your persona is or what your interest lies in. They are more interested to know what you are mastered in and how your skill will be helping their organization rather than yourself. Okay, so when it comes to skill, it is important. We need to share the professional skills. So for example, professional skills, when we say, it means that I might be good in Excel, I might be good in MS Word, I might be good in presentation. Okay, so I need to mention those skills there. That is my professional skills, and those professional skills will be helping the organization where I am looking forward to work. So that is skills. Then also you can mention that you are, apart from your your technical skill, if you are very much a savvy, like you are a person who loves anything you have done digitally, digital marketing, or you are something extra which can help the organization in another way, again, so that you can mention. So these are the something eye catchy when the person look at, right? So then you can mention that. And then instead of listing all your skills in one summary session, in a lot of people will be mentioning their skills in personal statement, like after your after your introduction, your name and everything, they will be mentioning about themselves. So in that 5-6 lines, they also mention about the skills, which is not required. The skill have a different heading, so everything have a different heading where they need to mention. So the personal statement, after a small introduction, when you're talking about your contact details, you just need to mention about what are you looking for. After that, heading wise heading, you need to put across. So I think it's clear till the skills, like skills are very, very important, but skill doesn't mean what you are interested. It means that what the organization is looking for. Okay. So it can be anything in terms of technical, in terms of extra, which can attract the recruiter to recruit you. So that comes under skills. Now comes the additional section. Now, basically, additional section here means that you can mention about your interest. You can mention about your extra hobbies, which is nowadays people are mentioning, but it's not required. In one sentence, you just mention that you like reading or listening music. That is something extra that you can put across in the interest heading. So I have just mentioned additional section there, but additional section is like something which you can just add on. Like for example, you might have publications, you might have written some nice articles, or you are a person who writes a lot of books, so anything which interests you, that publication you can mention. You can give the link so that people can click there and see, go through their your basically your publication history. And then professional certificates. Now professional certificates means whatever you have done in terms of your academics. Basically academics here doesn't count nowadays, but professional survey, like for example, you have done something in your extra learning, like something extra means your digital, if you have done certified for Excel or PowerPoint, or you are done something, different, which is not a part of your curriculum, but you have achieved it in your professional when you were working somewhere and you got some certificates to achieving a target in that organization. So anything which you've been awarded or you've been honored, that you can mention here, so that people can have a look, and that will help them to know more about you. So these are the points that we will basically we cover when it comes to CV drafting. So these are the formats which I have discussed, when it comes to drafting a CV. So these are the points that we need to mention, and these points can be mentioned in a form of bulletin points rather than putting it in a boring statements, because because people want to just know, okay, this is the thing, this is the thing, this is the thing, that's it. They will not keep reading it. So rather than making it a history, it's better to concise and keep it short. So till publication, awards, skills, education, professional history, and a small detail about yourself is mentioned, is required in a CV format. So that is what people look for, not more than that anything. So it should be maximum 2 pages, or I can say minimum, like not one page is also not good. It should have something more than, so maximum like 2 pages enough for a CV, not more than that. So that is important. And then comes to guidelines while we writing CV. Now, what are the guidelines? So when I say guidelines, there are do's and don'ts that we follow. So when it comes to do, it says that CV should be no longer than 2-page maximum, which I have already mentioned. It should be as relevant as possible to the job you're applying. So yes, this is very, very important point. So it's like, now I am going for a media industry. I want to work as an editor in the media industry, but I am mentioning something which is not relevant to what I'm looking for. So it is like, I was a customer service, I was doing client servicing in previous organization, and now I want to work as an editor in media. So the recruiter will be like, okay, what is the link now? Why you want to join media? If you already have an experience of client services, so you should look for a corporate world where you can go ahead and you can earn little better. Why you want to join here and start from the scratch? So this is something you need to keep in mind, that what are you looking for? Jumping from one organization to another organization is, I won't say it is wrong, but then you should have a point. So that time when people, when we ask them, why you want to apply for this particular position, they like, there is a silence in the room. They'll be like, I'm looking for new opportunity. I'm looking for new challenges. What challenges? But challenges is fine, but then you need to be like, what is the reason why you're shifting from hospitality industry to a corporate or to a education sector? So this is what they will be looking for. So we need to be very, very strict when to ourselves also when we are mentioning, because we should not mention anything which will somewhere affect your, your interview. Then comes the page layout. So when you're drafting a CV, you need to see the alignment, the font size, your what you're using, the font size, what are your alignment. It's neat. It should look basically neat and tidy, because sometimes what happens, what we are seeing in the digital format is different when we get a printout of it. There will be some word going here, and it is not proper alignment, and that makes someone, you're sitting in front of someone, director or CEO, and they will be like, okay, so that's a reflection. So that we need to very much take care before we proceed further, and check twice when you're handing over your CV digitally, so soft copy or hard copy to the HR or the recruiter. Okay, so it should be appear organized and flow well. So that's what it is. It should be point-wise point, and it should be clear. Like the way I have already discussed the format. It's better that the format we follow, so that it is crisp. What we are trying to denote, what we're trying to tell to the recruiter, it should be reflecting the same. And it should be short and concise. So I before also mentioned that nobody is waiting to know so many things about your, what is your dog name, what's your pet name, what you're coming from, where is your grandparents. Nothing. It should be just about your qualification, your skills, and how you can make the other industry where you're working a more better, and the growth development. Like, they are more interested to know that. Then comes the don't. Definitely, we should not at all include salary. A lot of people will be mentioning that, negotiable, or they'll be mentioning, I'm looking for 12,000, 20,000, 25,000, or 1.5 CTC. Not required, because that doesn't look good, So in salary and expectation, the perks, they will also be like benefits, not required. So it should be only concise to your information. Include information which may be viewed negatively. For example, a lot of people mention that failed below 40, below 50%, they will mention like 45%, in just in front of their percentage. As I told you before, that please don't mention the percentage. It is bad, because if you are not a topper, it will reflect negative. And people do that. They will be mentioning 45%, got in 10 standard or graduation, or not interested. That will actually lead to negativity. That will harm your persona, like your personality as well. Failed in business. No, I didn't achieve my target in the previous organization. So these are the reasons. And please, and we should also not mention the reason for leaving a job, because what happens, definitely there will be a question come that, what is the reason why you are leaving, why you left your previous job. So people give a lot of, some people will be like, okay, genuine also, but some people will be making stories also, and they'll be like, my boss expired and the company is not growing, and that is the reason I left it. I'm not seeing any scope of my growth there. So this is like, the next question that comes to them is like, okay, what if something happens here also? Then what? You will leave us in 1 month, 2 months, or 1 year maximum? So these are something which is like, will be giving not anything, not harming to the organization. It's going to be giving a negativity about you as your personality to the recruiter. So we should not mention anything there. And also, we need to keep it very short, so that it's easy for the person to read the points clearly and come to the detail, and then come to the verbal conversation, that is your verbal interview. So all these are the points that we need to include when we are drafting our CV. And we should not mention, as I've mentioned here, that we should not mention about the school. Okay, so these are something which not required, anything which is already done, something which you are doing, which you have done so far, that is only we look forward for. So these are the sample CV sample that we have. So basically we follow these nowadays. If you see the templates also which we have, it will be same. So now you don't have to do much work. Hard work is not required much in terms of drafting the CV. You just need to put your information. Now the information which you are mentioning should be what I have already mentioned right now, what we are looking for, rather than going in a lot of detail. So this is what it is, and it should look like this, where your telephone, it should look like more attractive also. It should not look like very dimmy, like, okay, yeah, for the sake of something we are drafting just to convey the information. So it should look like interesting also, and eye-catchy as well. So yes, this is what I wanted to tell you about the drafting one. And after that, now we will be proceeding for the interview.
Thank you, Philomena, for taking us through the first part of the program, where you were speaking about the difference between a CV and a resume, where you told our people what is the contents of a CV and what should be there in the resume, the do's and don'ts, and the format in which they want, they have to prepare this CV and resume. So we will take some questions about how about the first part before we go to the second part. So if there are any questions, I would request you to please put them in chat. In the meanwhile, I will take some questions that have come to us from the participants who had given it at the time of registration. One of the questions that has come is, what can students who are in the final year of college do to make their CV stand out immediately after they pass their college? So is there anything that they can do to make their CVs more attractive while they are in their final year so that they get selected?
Yeah. The most important suggestion and thing I can share it with the students who will be passing out or who passed out is go for internship. Don't just draft a CV after passing 12th. Okay. Because more of the organization always look for something in terms of your skills. They want to know, and just mentioning your skills without, having an experience is not okay to, in that way. So if you are, it's better you go for internship, you go for paid internship. Nowadays the industry are giving a great opportunity to the freshers after the 12th standard, and a lot of industry need volunteers. So it's better they should be a part of a service industry, any industry, no matter whichever they look forward, which will help their career, to go ahead. So they should go for internship first rather than directly switching to work experience, work opportunity. So that always attracts. So when they draft a CV, they can, after the education point, they can mention their internship. As I mentioned before also, before work experience, they can mention the internship experience. That will give them a scope of, a great opportunity in terms of learning. So they will know how the industry work. And a lot of people, if they are joining a college, they get internship, 1 or 2 months internship, which will help them to know the industry well. But in case if they're not going for college and they are directly looking forward after 12th, still I will say that no problem. If you don't want to go for college, no issue, but go for internship at least. That will help you. So you can mention in your CV. That will attract the recruiter.
All right. The next question that came up was how to make a resume for an international job. That is preparing a CV different for an Indian job and for a foreign job? Is there anything that they have to keep in mind?
No, there is nothing much difference. What I told you, this format, what you are drafting, how you're drafting, that plays a vital role. That is very, very important because you cannot mention anything which you haven't have an experience. So you need to mention those things only which you have an experience, so that in future it should not create a mess for you in case you are joining a good opportunity comes to your way in terms of international as well. So it's better you keep yourself concise, focus on the draft, your format, what is the latest format, what they are looking forward, and your skills. That is required, and everything is same, nothing difference in that. But what plays a vital role, what will attract the recruiter in terms of international as well, is your skills and your professional achievements. So that you need to highlight.
All right. The other question which came was, should the resume or CV be prepared in MS Word or by using tools like Canva, etc., to stand out?
Yeah, it's better nowadays. We have a lot of templates coming up. So I will suggest that people should look for latest templates that we have. So that templates will give you the latest format, which you don't have to draft or, work hard a bit more for it. You just need to focus on the content which you are putting across. So it's better you look for the latest softwares or, where we have ready-made templates. That will help you.
Okay. There's another question which says, should the CV, which is the more detailed document, and the resume be sent together, or is there, it should be in separate email?
Can you come across again, please?
Like should the CV and the resume be sent together or in a separate mail? Should they give the brief document and the detailed document together, or it depends on each job and they can choose to send either the CV or the resume?
Yeah, so as I mentioned that it's better, let's not focus on resume. Resume is something if you don't have anything, no experience, zero, only you are a qualified person in terms of education, then it comes a resume. But in case you have an experience, which I will recommend, go for internship, that will help you to attract your recruiter. Then comes the CV. So there is no resume, CV to send together. Resume, CV is same. Resume is something where you don't have anything to mention, you have no experience, only you are passed out. Then it comes to resume. Where it CV is something where you have professional experience, you have skills, everything to mention, then it comes to CV. So if you are experienced person, send CV along with cover letter. Yes, cover letter is more important. Cover letter, you need to mention a summary about yourself, about your, basically about your talent, how good you are and what good, like, in what area you are looking forward. So that will give you like maybe 100 or 200 words cover letter is required along with your CV. So you can attach both and send it, but not resume and CV together. It is one thing only. There is only a slight difference, which I have already mentioned.
All right. Then there was a question about whether photographs should be included. I think you have already covered that. Now it is expected that photographs are there. And then another question, whether overseas companies will consider previous experience, or do they consider the applicant as a fresher always? Is there any?
Yes. Moreover, as my experience has been, is that overseas as well look for an experience. Definitely, because they do appreciate fresher, but depends in case you are a citizen or you are staying in abroad and you have done some kind of, you are a local person there. So that is fine. You can look for an opportunity as a fresher as well. But in case you are applying from India and you are looking forward for any other countries there, then it's better you take an experience. At least 2 years to 3 years experience is important, because they will come to know how benefit you are for their organization. In case something doesn't happen, then they will be like, they will be giving you work visa. They'll be sending you so many perks. They'll be giving you so many benefits. So they will not give you benefits just like that. They want to know what you going to help them in the growth. That is very important. And of course, the references. So in any of organization where you have worked before, they will ask you for the references. So you need to share the references as well, so that they will usually do the double checking. So they will come to know, okay, this person is genuine and they have done this organization and they have achieved this much there. So this is very, very important to mention. Yeah.
All right, thank you. There is, I think that completes the questions relating to the CV portion. I think we can now move on to the interview section. I would request you to please conclude by 7:35 so that we can take some questions and wind up, please.
Sure.
Over to you.
Okay, so moving ahead now, that is the last session that we will be more talking about is how to prepare for the interview. Now, how to prepare for the interview is something which is verbally conduct. So one should be very much aware what is required and what is not required whenever we are sitting for the interview round. So most important is the behavioral interviewing. Okay, that is a step one. Now, what is behavioral interviewing is the question which includes is open-ended question and close-ended questions. Okay, so when a recruiter asks you, tell me about yourself, that is like it's like a signature question nowadays. So they'll be asking you, can you tell me about yourself a bit? Then you describe, you tell them about yourself and little bit about. So here we need to always keep in mind that they are not asking you about too much information as well. You need to keep it very concise. So behavioral interview means open-ended and close-ended questions. So open-ended will say, tell me about yourself, which you need to be very concise, limited, and close-ended will be the confirmation, whatever you have provided the information is the genuine one. Okay, so this will be the part of the first round where they will be asking you about the behavioral interview round. Then comes the step 2. Now, what are the employers looking for? Okay, so it will be more of communication, how you communicate, no matter you speak any language, but you need to communicate, best way. Okay, whether it is verbally or in the writing. What the recruiter is looking for, you need to be very concise rather than going complexing things for yourselves. Problem solving. The organization always look for a problem solver, not a problem creator. So be like someone you need to value their organization. How you can help them in the growth of their organization, you need to tell that. You need to help, when they're asking you how you can benefit us, you need to mention certain things which will help their organization in the growth. Analytical skills. Now it is like more of how you are when it comes to research, when it comes to collecting data, organizing things, for any kind of event. So what are your skills? So these are your skills that you need to mention when you have to talk to them verbally. So you need to mention these also. Customer service. Now they always look for like how you will be benefiting the service industry. So you need to be very good in listening. You need to be a problem solving communication person who can help the industry to give them the benefits out from the customers. And once if you're targeting and giving them the business, definitely you are an achiever for them. Leadership quality. Definitely they look for a leadership quality. How you can lead a team of 5 people, a team of 2 people, a team of 100 people. So you should have that capability and responsibility of, being a leader. So these are the things that you need to mention when you are telling them verbally, when you're sitting for the face-to-face round. Common interview questions we have covered in step 3. That is like, tell me about yourself, where you need to tell about yourself without giving too much information. Okay. Why do you want this job? This will be the second question. Now, when I say, why do you want a job? You should be very specific. Why you are looking for this particular role. What will benefit the organization with that? You need to mention that when they're asking you this question. Why should we hire you? The next question is, so you need to tell them very confidently, and you need to tell them that in my previous organization, you can just give an example from your previous organization, that in my previous organization, I have achieved this much target. I have given the business to my client, to my organization. And that is what I will be doing better than that in your organization. So you need to give them the confidence. Then what is your greatest strength? They'll ask you. So greatest strength doesn't mean that you are very good in basketball and all. You need to mention that how better you are. So you need to mention about how you have been a problem solver in your previous organization. You can just, instead of telling a story, you can just share your professional experience, how your previous organization has benefited from you. So this is what they're looking for. Okay. In case, for example, if a team leader is absent, is not well, so as a teammate or as a member of a team, how you can take it forward? Can you stand there on behalf of them? Like that kind of a question they want to know. So you need to answer them accordingly. What is your greatest weakness? Definitely you need to mention, they will ask you this as well, but doesn't mean that you need to tell them that, I am a crying person, I'm a very emotional person. They're not bothered. They don't want someone who need to be sitting in corner and crying. They want to know, as if you are weak also, if you're not good at, if any skills which you are not fine, but how you have improved that. And after improving, how you have worked on that. So if you're not good in Excel, if you're not good in PowerPoint, you don't know. Tell them clearly. I was not aware about PowerPoint presentation. I was not confident. But then I started working on that and I have improved myself, and this is the result of it. So this has been my weakness and this has become my strength now. So like that, you need to share them. Then why do you want to leave the job or or why you left your job? Basically, they'll ask you. So you need to tell them that, what made you move? You know, you need to give them a genuine answer rather than telling the organization is not paying me desired salary and I'm not happy with my current position. So this is all negative. Okay, so the same thing they will rely, okay, what if you do the same thing with us? So tell them the genuine reason of leaving the organization. What are your salary expectation? Now, when they ask you what are your salary expectations, you need to be very concise here. You don't need to tell them, you know, you need to research before you are opening your mouth and telling that I deserve this. Definitely, if you're deserving, they will give you, but you need to do a research. Is the organization will be able to give me what I'm looking for? So before proceeding for any kind of organization or sitting for any interview round, you please prepare yourself. Search about the organization, do a small research, come to know about them. How is the organization? Will they be fine for me or not? Then you go ahead. Don't just go for a, you know, sake of going. How do you handle your stress and pressure? So these questions will be there. Okay, so you need to share your experience, like what you, if you had been into stressed, or you know, you've been a part of that pressure, how you have come out of it. You need to share the example. So giving an example, giving them an answer in a positive way will help them, rather than giving them, okay, I am, you know, these are the reason I get stressed and all. Don't tell them that why you are getting stressed. Tell them how you have come out of it. Okay. Describe a difficult work situation on project and how you handled it. So they want to know, in case you are coming across any situation which might be very much difficult, then how will you handle that tough situation? So you need to tell them and make them believe that if you are a part of such situation, you will make, you know, these are the reason where you will be working and helping the organization to come out of it. Rather than, you know, like for example, when it comes to inflation or any kind of risk management, so the organization, the boss always look for a person who will come out, help them to come out of the risk management, rather than getting them in trouble. Okay, so you need to find the ways. What are your goals for the future? This can be your last question as well. So you need to tell them that, you know, I'm not looking, after 5 years, I want to become this and that. Don't tell them all that. You just focus on your job. You tell them that, you know, right now I will be working what I have, you know, in my hand. And definitely I'll be looking forward for a long-term goals in your organization. You need to give them a confidence rather than telling 2 years I'll be working here, 3 years I'll be going here and there. No. Okay, so you need to be you need to give them a confidence that I'll be sticking to my job, and within in this particular organization, I'll be looking for a long-term achievement. So I can become a CEO as well in the same organization. So this is what will help you. Okay. Yes, we come to the final round, that is interview preparation. Yeah, so these are the preparation when it comes how you prepare yourself. Now, it doesn't mean that what verbally, what you're talking, what you're communicating, that is something which I've already discussed. This means that how you present yourself. Okay, so when it say presenting yourself, it should be professional, dressing, grooming. Okay, so dress professionally. So you need to be very much confident when you sit for the interview round. The person should not come to know that, oh, you are scared, you have that anxiety, you know, you are not confident enough. Then that should not reflect. So your dressing should give you a positivity, that confidence. Prepare yourself prepare accordingly. Now, when I say prepare accordingly, it means that you need to brush up yourself. Okay, not only this will give you, you know, a kind of relaxation, but it will make your answers clear. Okay, what about your employer? You should know about your employer, where you are going, which organization you're going. So little bit of brush up is required before you land up there. Check your CV. Okay, please check your CV. It's important to have a well drafted CV. Otherwise, again, again, it creates a bad image that, you know, your font size, your alignment, your words, what you're writing, your spellings, you know, English, grammar, everything should be clearly put across. Know what you are walking into. Okay, so it means that you need to gather information about your organization and then go ahead, know your interviewer as well. Who is taking your interview? You should know that person accordingly, so that will help you to have a clear, concise idea about the, you know, who is taking your interview and what you might come across to. Make an eye contact. So whenever you're talking, don't look here and there, don't bite your nails, don't scratch your head. You should be very confident, sit straight and look into the eyes of the person. So that will always give a confidence. The person will always have, that this person have a positivity. So these are the points that we need to keep across. Be honest. Don't create stories. A lot of people come and sit in that chair and they'll create stories just to grab the opportunity, which is not important. If you are honest, automatically things will, come to you. So you don't have to make stories here. Relax. You need to be very calm. Consider it as a learning experience in case you're not selected. So don't, like, why I'm not selected? What is the reason? Don't go for it. Just take it as a learning experience, which will help you in the next interview round as well. So you need to have a good sleep before you start yourself for the next day, and stay off your phone. So I always suggest people not to look out for a lot of things that will confuse them, even before the exams also, and for the interview also. So be calm, patient, and give your best. So that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Philomena. We'll just take some questions that have come up on this. First question is, now in this given age of pandemic, the interviews are online. So is there anything specific that the participants have to be prepared with when you're attending an online interview versus an actual interview, physical interview?
Yeah. See, there is definitely not much difference. You need to consider yourself that you are in the room where you might be physically, the way you will be visible in front of the interviewer. No matter you are on a webinar session or anything, you need to be very confident. You need to prepare yourself same as I've already mentioned. Your dress up, your dressing, your grooming, your confident, everything should be same as you are sitting for the actual physical round. I mean, face-to-face round. So be same. You don't have to do anything in that way. Change is not required.
Yeah, the question was about common questions that you have covered. How do we satisfy or convince the recruiter by our answers?
I think it's very much, I have mentioned that what is required when you are communicating to them, you need to be very much honest. You don't have to create a weakness there about yourself. You are there to crack the interview. So you need to be very confident and be sure about it, what you're trying to convey to the person. So you have to give example how you have been and how you have came across, how you have actually tackled the situation. That will give the confidence to the recruiter. So be very sure and don't create stories. Be honest to yourself. That's it. That will help you definitely.
Okay, other than job proficiency of a person, questions are often asked to determine their emotional and psychological profile. Which major aspects of these two are given a priority in the job interview?
Most over, when it comes to psychological part, they want to know your weakness, your strength, and how, you can tackle this situation. They want to know your weakness, so you don't have to show that in case you are in somewhere you are having that fear, you are lacking of confidence is there. Okay, we know that, that, but you don't have to reflect that, because here you are coming to achieve something. If you show something which you are reflecting in the first round only, then it becomes difficult for the person to understand you or take you for the next round. So be sure what you are going for and be confident. That's it. If you have a weakness, also everybody have a weakness. We all have a weakness, but that weakness, we should not, make it visible on our face, so that the other person feels that this person is not useful for my industry. Then why should I hire? That why should I hire should not come. So if you have that weakness, somewhere you are a little bit scared, no problem. It is a natural thing. Just be confident and go for it.
All right. Which are the things that can be shared about ourselves? Or I would like to change the question as, what are the things that you should not share about yourself in an interview?
Yeah. Don't share about your family background. A lot of people will come and they'll sit with the family history. My father, my grandparents, my siblings. That's what I told. Be very concise. They are interested to know you because you are the one who will be giving them business. It's a business industry, right? We all here to, give the business and take the business. It's like that. So you should be very much aware about it, that what the organization is looking for, rather than keeping yourself in a story, into the story pitch. You don't have to give that. Be very concise, and always don't tell about your something which they are not interested to know, like what your hobbies are. You like swimming, you like green tea. A lot of people share all that. I like Chinese food, Italian food. No, we are not interested to know. We are interested to know what are your skills, how your skills will be helping my organization to give a growth. I am more worried about that, because I'll be paying you that much salary. If you're asking me what will be my salary, I am okay to pay you 12 lakh package. I'm okay to pay you 60,000, 70,000 monthly. But how you will be helping my organization, I'm more interested in knowing that. So for me, your grandfather name, your Chinese food, all this is not important. Your hobbies are not important. Hobbies and all, okay, it's a part of your interest, your passion. Very good. That will definitely, you will get in the organization to spare some time. But then that should not reflect in your work. That's what it is.
All right. How to introduce yourself at an interview?
Okay, so when introducing yourself in an interview is definitely should be more about you. You should keep yourself in that shoe, that myself, hi, good morning, myself Philomena, I'm from so and so, and you need to be very short. Okay, so you just tell your name. Okay, yeah, I'm from which place. Okay, I have been working here. This is my experience. I studied in St. Xavier College. I studied in Jesus and Mary College, and I have worked as a manager. So little fat. You need to give a 2-3 lines sentence about yourself. Your name, you're from which place, and what your qualification and your work experience. So I've worked with this industry. That's it. Because rest of the information is already there in the CV. So if you keep telling the same thing, it's a waste of time for both the people.
All right. The next question is about post-interview. Many people do not get a response from the company. So, though it is standard for a company to say they will get back, is there anything that the interviewee can do about this? And what would be a reasonable time to check with the company? And if you check, will the company think you are very desperate for the job, and what would be the reaction?
Okay. Yes, this question is like, see, most of the time what happens, the duration of the time is 10 days. Okay, depends on the organization, because they'll be getting a bulk of CVs, and shortlisting need to be done, seeing the skills and everything. So they do take a time of a week. Okay, and they will send you a mail. If you are not selected, they'll definitely send you a mail. Or most of the time, if you are applying for a reputed top organization, they will in fact call you, so you will get a call as well. But moreover, you will receive a mail that unfortunately this time we are not selecting you, but your profile will be kept with us for the in case any requirement is there. So this is how they will send you a nice good looking message, and they will say goodbye to you. But yeah, so it's better you should not dial up them again and again. That will frustrate them, and then they'll be like, this why this person, that's not a good thing. So I will never suggest dial up them. Let them take their time. If you are selected, you will get a call. If you're not selected, then definitely you will receive a message or mail, that you're not selected.
What if you have left your job for getting a lower salary, and excuse me, and also during this time there is a lockdown and there is a break in your career? So how do you handle that?
yeah, as per the situation that we are all facing nowadays, it is this, yes, the same thing where people have come to half of the salary, and despite of having a good experience, people are not getting a chance to get recruited. So in that case, I always suggest that it's better to keep trying. Okay, because right now we don't know how the market is. We know that we are how we are dealing out of it, but it's better you start applying for organization that you want to work now itself, so that in case if not 10, if you apply for 10 organization, at least you will get a call from one or two. Okay, so that kind of a thing we need to continue. And yeah, so this is what it is better to, right now only you need to continue, because if you're looking for Indian industry, or you're looking for overseas as well, it's better you start now itself, so that you should know when the hiring is starting, because for like for education sector, the hiring starts from till August it go. So June, July, August is the right time. So this is the time where people start applying, so it's better you start applying and wait for the call.
The follow-on question there is, what should be the reason that we should give a job? Though we have left the job because of low salary, can we mention that to an interviewer, or should we say something else? Is there any other reason that we can give during that?
Yes. So any reason, the genuine reason why you left the job, in case, don't mention anything in terms of salary. I will always suggest salary is a bad reason, that, my boss was not paying me this much salary, so I left it. Because that kind of a question they will ask even to you in terms of themselves, like, keeping themselves in that shoe. So that will be not that will have a negativity. So it's better you don't mention about the salary. You just tell them that, I'm looking for a more challenging opportunity, and I'm very open to learn something new in the new industry. So like that, you need to give an answer rather than telling something about your previous organization. Okay, in case previous organization is closed, okay, if they have shuttered, they are not opening anymore, or whatever the XY reason, that you can mention. That's a genuine reason, that the organization has been closed and they are not operating now. So that is the reason I'm looking for a new opportunity.
How do we improve our communication skills and confidence levels for facing an interview?
Yes, you need to read. You need to be very much aware. Nowadays, you have a lot of things on YouTube, in digital media. So try coming across, that will help you to get a confidence. And moreover, try to, rather than just seeing something, it's better you communicate. To indulge yourself in a lot of classes. They have a lot of communication classes, confidence classes, personality development classes. Be a part of those sessions. And nowadays everything is on on webinar, online, so it's easy for everybody to look for it. So it's better you be a part of all these sessions. That will help you.
Okay. And how do we cope with technical issues that may come up during a interview? Now, online interview, like suppose there is a background noise or a connectivity issue or something like that. How do we handle that during an interview?
Okay, connectivity issue, if in case coming from your end, then definitely you need to prepare yourself before itself, that where you are taking the interview, or interview has been taken. So you need to prepare yourself, that be in a room, see all the technical issues are fine, so that things are sorted out. And in case somewhere you get interrupted, in case some disconnection happens, then you can just leave a message to the recruiter or email them that due to so and so reason, I was not able to continue, so that they can revert back to you, or they will come back to you, rather than not taking any step from your side. And most important, when you are sitting for the interview, make sure that you are in a closed room. There is no space for any noise, and your internet facility, everything should be fine.
I think the last question is, now if there is a contract, overseas contract job, where the contract was for 1 year, but after 6 months, the person quit the job because the job that they got was not what was promised. So do you suggest that they should add this in the CV of the next job, or is it better not to mention it at all?
No,
for the
please
6
don't.
months?
No, no, no. We are not supposed to mention that. Never.
All right. Thank you, Philomena. I think we have covered all the questions that have been sent to us along when the registration happened and during the session also. Now, if there is anybody from the ICBN network based on their experience who wants to add to what was said, if there is something that they want to contribute, they can say that now. Otherwise, I would hand it over to Ms. Uma to propose the vote of thanks.
Do I take on Chaji? Chaji, do I?
Yes,
Are
Uma,
there any
please go ahead.
questions? Are there any more
No,
questions?
there are no more questions.
Okay.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Good evening to all. It's my privilege to say thank you to everyone involved in to bring this webinar to a successful end. I'm really grateful that we went through the whole evening without any glitches. First of all, I would like to thank Ms. Philomena Joseph for such a detailed presentation, starting from explaining the difference between a CV and resume. Thank you, ma'am, very much. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you, participants. I'm sure each of us are better armed this evening and to write better CVs and also to face interviews more confidently. Thank you for making time to be here. And I want to thank the ICBN core and working team for all the behind the screens effort that's gone in. It's a great teamwork. Thank you. That it needs to be really applauded. Another job well done. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Uma, for the vote of thanks. And now in closing, I would request Ms. Celine to just close with a word of prayer.
Celine, unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much, Philomena, for your message. It was very helpful. And we thank the God for giving us this opportunity. Let's do our closing prayer. Heavenly Father, we give thanks for the pleasure of gathering together for this occasion. We give thanks for life, the freedom to enjoy it all, and all other blessings. We give thanks for all the members who have initiated for this meeting. As we partake of this gathering, we pray for all the unemployed to find a job and pray for health and strength to carry on and try to live as you would have us. We pray your guidance toward paths of righteousness and wisdom. May our conversation be joyful, edifying, and encouraging. Strengthen us, O God, to share your good news and to serve where you call us. This we ask in the mighty name of Jesus, our Lord. Amen.
Thank you,